Let's vibe, let's roll, let's get it. Whoa, shawty showing out, throwing on the dance floor. Fashion killer, huh? You don't give a fuck what a nigga gotta say or a bitch. What?
Hey guys, it's Naimahrae and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and join the fam because we stay litty over here. And if you're a returning viewer, hi, how are you guys doing on this very lovely day? As you guys can tell by the title of this video, you can tell that I'm doing a story time. I have no clue what I'm going to title it yet, but I just felt like I need to tell this story because people are going to learn how to stop playing with me. Yes. Without further ado, I'm not going to ramble. Whatever the case may be, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, before I deep dive into the story time, I just want to go ahead and preface this by y'all. I know I was wrong. 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 Okay, I don't want to hear it. I know. But the other person was also wrong. Okay, two wrongs do not make a right, guys. Okay, learn from my mistakes. Be better. Now that that's out the way, let's go ahead and get into the story. This was about early last year at the time that you guys are seeing this. I had something going on with my sink because honestly, when I moved into my apartment, there seemed to be a lot of things wrong with it. I don't know who inspected it, but there was a lot of issues. There was something wrong with my sink and I kept complaining about it to my friends and family, and they were like, Naimah, you need to call maintenance and just have them come fix it, because it wasn't like an issue. It was just like, it was bothering me type issue. And they were like, Naimah, you pay to live there, have them come fix it. I'm like, you know what? You're right. So I put in a maintenance request. Maintenance finally comes. I will never forget this day because I had just got my hair done. So I'm literally sitting in my apartment looking like a princess because my hair is just all curly and flowy and pretty, and I had nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. And I had like sweats on and like a shirt. I was like big time chilling. So maintenance comes. I'm like, hi. And I don't think I realized that he was maintenance because I don't think I saw like the little, the little logo on his shirt. So I'm thinking like, why is this random guy at my door? And he like pauses when he sees me. Like I open the door, he pauses. We're gonna call him MG for maintenance guy. And he's like, I'm here to fix your sink. I'm here to fix the sink. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I explained to him what the issue is, because like I said, it wasn't really like an issue where it was like a problem. It was just annoying to me. So he tells me what he can do to fix it, yada yada, blah blah blah. And he's like, but I'm gonna have to replace something. He had to replace something, and he said it was gonna take a minute. Like, is that okay? And I was like, sure. Mind you, I was a little confused because this guy looked to be about my age. And y'all, I don't know, maybe I'll be thinking I'm younger than what I am. I don't know. It's just in my head, when I think of like a maintenance person, I don't think of like somebody my age. Like I think of somebody dad. You know what I'm saying? That's just me in my head. So I'm like looking at him like, oh, he looks like he's my age, but I'm scared. Like it's just gonna be me and him in my apartment alone. And I was just like nervous. So I immediately text two of my friends. I'm like, hey, the maintenance guy, he's here. He's going to be here for a minute. Can you call me? One of them takes too long to reply. Bestie, she calls me immediately. I press send on a text and she is calling my phone. I'm like, hey girl, like how you been? And so me and her just started chit-chatting and yapping about whatever. And he's just in there like fixing the sink, minding his business, taking his time or whatever. And probably about 20-30-ish minutes of us into the conversation, he starts talking to me. He's like, oh, so where are you from? Like this, that, and the third. We start conversating, and I end up finding out that he's literally from where I grew up at. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, for real? So do you know so-and-so? And we found out we actually had some mutuals in common, which was actually really cool. Mind you, Bestie's still in my ear the entire time. I had my AirPods in, and he couldn't see them because my hair was down. I'm talking to him. She's listening, kind of talking to her too. And she's like in my ear, like telling me like, well, is he cute? Like, what's going on? Like the situation doesn't seem like it's a bad situation. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, he's okay. So me and him get to talking. Honestly, throughout the entire conversation, there's very like a heavily, is that a word? Yes. A heavily flirtatious undertone on his end. Now, I feel like I've said this before. I feel like I've said this numerous times on my channel. I'm a flirt. I like to flirt. I will definitely feed off your energy. If you flirt with me, I will flirt back with you. Sometimes it's not intentional. Sometimes it is intentional. In this case, it was intentional because I'm like, oh, you flirting with me? Okay, I'll flirt back with you because you're kind of cute and you know how to fix things. We love that. Nice working, man. I start flirting back a little bit, but not too much. I'm letting him lead the flirting. And we just kind of start talking back and forth a little bit too much so to the point where Bestie's like, all right, well, you don't need me to be on the phone, but make sure before he leaves, like you get his number, his Instagram, something. I'm just like, I don't know, I'm a little nervous. She was like, Naimah, get his number or get his Instagram. Don't do that. And I was like, okay. We ended up getting off the phone, so me and him started talking more. And he was about to leave because at this point he's done. He was telling me, he was like, well, you know, I'm really good with the ladies. Da-da-da-da. Mind you, this is what he said to me. And I'm like, okay, not too much, not too much. You cute or whatever, you flirting or whatever, but like not too much. So I was like, okay. He was like, yeah, so I'm done. You're all good to go, da-da-da. And I was like, dang, so you were just gonna leave without getting my Instagram? And he was like, oh, he was like, you know, I was gonna slide mine like on a piece of paper and just like leave it for you to find. And I was like, right. So can I get your Instagram? And he was like, yeah. So he types in his Instagram, he follows me or whatever, I follow him, one of the two. That was that. Carries on, right? So I expect the entire day, the rest of the day goes by, I'm waiting for him to DM me, because I'm like, you the one who said you was good with the ladies, like you was laying the flirting on heavy. So I'm thinking like you gonna slide in the DMs, like you really bad at it for real. And I was like, I don't know, like I asked my bestie, I was like, girl, should I DM him? Or like, should I wait? And she was like, wait it out. And she was like, then if he don't like say anything, then DM him. Cool. So of course, in true Naimah fashion, because one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna shoot my shot. Okay, I'm gonna shoot the shot, shoot. I slid in his DMs and I was like, you know, for you to be good with the ladies, I thought that you would have DM'd me, and you didn't. He didn't reply, which was fine, because I think I DM'd him, like, it wasn't super late. It was like in the evening. It was like 7 or 8, because I didn't want it to be on like some other time, you know what I'm saying? The next day, he DMs me and he's like, are you at home? At the time, I was not inside my apartment. I was just like working out. I was on my hot girl walk around the neighborhood. So I told him no, because I already felt like kind of uneasy about the fact that he knew where I lived. Like, even if I was to try to date you, sir, like you already know where I live at. And like you're a maintenance guy. Like you can really get into my apartment. Like I didn't heard the horror stories. So I'm like trying to move this situation cautiously. I tell him no. And he's like, oh, well, can I get your number? I have to tell you something. No, I was very hesitant to give him my number because once again, I've heard the stories about the maintenance guys. And also like in general, I don't give my number out to people. It's just not a thing for me. I give out my Instagram. I feel like the number's a little bit too personal, but if we could graduate from the DMs, then you could get the number, you know what I'm saying? But at this point, I was just like, I want to know what he had to tell me. Curiosity killed the cat, y'all. Like I was being nosy. So I was just like, yeah, sure, here's my number. So I sent him my number. He calls me. He's like, oh, I really wanted to do this in person. I just feel really bad and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, about what? And he's like, Naimah, you're such a beautiful young woman. You seem like you have a lot going for you. Like, you're just really great. And like, if I wasn't in my situation that I'm in, like, you know, I would really love to just take you out. Right? And I'm just like, situation? Like, what is going on? And so finally he's like, honestly, I shouldn't have been flirting with you yesterday. I'm in a relationship. I have a girlfriend. We're just going through a rough patch. And I was like, oh. So at that point, I was like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry to hear that. And he was like, yeah, I just felt like I had to tell you because it wouldn't be fair to you, because I wouldn't be able to treat you like how I want to treat you, knowing I got my situation going on, and like you deserve to know, da 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 da. And I was just like, yeah, and it also wouldn't be fair to her, so that's fine. I was like, we could be friends, so it's fine. And even when I said we could be friends, I knew for a fact that we couldn't really like be friends. I was using that term very loosely, like we could be friends, because it's like, you was flirting heavy, sir, like real heavy. Like I was making you nervous type heavy. We can't be friends. He was like, yeah, you know, like I would love to just be friends, like, you know, that's fine or whatever. Like I just felt like I needed to tell you that information or whatever. I was like, well, I appreciate you for telling me, because I don't want nobody coming up to me or finding me or whatever talking about you trying to take my man. Girl, that is not what's trying to happen. That is not what's trying to happen. He was flirting with me. He was flirting with me. I was flirting back. I ain't know. I didn't know. He tells me that, and like I told him, literally, this is what I told him. I was like, well, I hope your situation works out how you want it to, because he sounded like so defeated. Like he just sounded like, damn, like I really wanted to take Naimah out, but I can't take her out because I'm in a relationship. And honestly, if you feel like that while you in a relationship, then you don't need to be in a relationship. But what do I know? What do I know? After that, out of respect for his relationship, I set like a firm boundary, because I am so over dealing with guys who all of a sudden pop up with a girlfriend, or all of a sudden decide to just completely exclude the fact that they have a girlfriend. I set a firm boundary. I was like, I'll be cordial. I'll wave when I see you. Like, I ain't got no issues with you, but I'm not crossing no lines. Simple as that, right? So I see him around the complex a couple times, obviously, when I go to the gym and when I'm working out or whatever. And I just wave, like, we keep it really cordial, really cute, really fun to see or whatever. And honestly, I just thought it was so funny because anytime I ran into him, he would just get so flustered, y'all. He would get so flustered. And I was just like, oh, you like me for real, though. Like, you like me for real. Period. I did text him a couple times, okay? I know y'all like, Naimah, what was you doing texting this man phone? It was all very innocent. I promise you guys, if it was not about my apartment, it was just about things around the apartment. It wasn't anything like, hey, how's your day going? It was like, oh, like, can you help me do this? Or like, what do I do about this? Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Or, oh, do you know what's going on with the complex with this? And this, that, because he had the inside scoop. Like, he worked here, you know what I'm saying? So it was very innocent. So a little bit of time goes by and there's no communication really. Like I said, it was probably like a text here and there, but that was it. And then randomly, just randomly, at night too, it was kind of late. It was probably like 10, maybe 11. And he calls me and then immediately hangs up. And I was just like, okay. And like, I didn't think much of it. And he sent a text and he's like, sorry, that was an accident. I was like, yeah, I figured it's fine. You're good. And I was just thinking in my head, I was like, there's no way that was an accident, because let's just be for real here. You haven't called me literally in months. In months. Since that one phone call, y'all, that was it. He ain't never called me after that. So what do you mean you accidentally called me? Either you pulled up my name and hit the call button, or you was just scrolling down in your call log and found my name and clicked it. Because I highly doubt that you just don't receive no phone calls, especially since you're a maintenance guy. So after his accidental call, like I told you guys, there was a lot of things wrong with my apartment. And it seemed like every time I put in a maintenance request, I think he was doing it on purpose. It seemed like he was the one that came to fix it. Which, at first, I was like a little weary about. But then it became like one of those things where it's like, well, I appreciate you for coming in. Because it's not like he was coming in and being weird. He was actually coming in, doing his job, fixing whatever needed to be fixed. And then he was leaving. Like, it wasn't like he was making it weird. Does that make sense? So it was kind of like, there was a level of trust there, and I was just like, okay, cool. And most of the time that he came, I was always at home. And if I wasn't, he would text me or call me and be like, hey, like, this is what's going on, X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. One time he came to fix something. We ended up having a super long conversation. Super long conversation. Like, I mean, we talked about quite a few things under the sun. And if I'm being quite honest with you guys, I think that was the conversation where in my head I was like, oh, we wouldn't work out. Because I was just thinking in my head, I was like, I don't even think we have enough stuff in common, just based off of that conversation. But then I was like, I also don't know the man. Like, just because we didn't have about an hour-long conversation don't mean that, like, you don't know somebody based off an hour-long conversation while they're technically still on the clock. So I was just like, okay. But I was down to go out. I was down to have fun. He already knew that I had told him, I was like, I don't want to be in a relationship. Like, I told him a little bit about my situation. And I was like, I'm not really looking for a relationship, but I'm down to, like, go out and have fun. But when he told me he had a girlfriend, I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, we could just be friends. So we had this really long conversation. And probably towards the end of it, he's like, oh, yeah, I had said something. I was like, yeah, but I wouldn't like want to upset your girlfriend. I think it was about sending him something or something. And he was like, oh, well, that's not a factor anymore because we actually, like, we're not together anymore. Like, we broke up. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Like, he was like, no, don't be sorry. He was like, it was a really toxic situation. Like, it's just, how people, like, he was just telling me, like, all the terrible things about her. And I was like, but I was also just like, oh, okay, like, he was like, but, once I, like, get things together and back in order, I'd love to take you out. Like, I think we have a really good time, this, that, and third. He was like, I don't want to do it now because, like, the breakup was, like, I guess kind of sort of recent, but he didn't really tell me how recent it was. He was just like, I don't want to do it now because I don't want you to feel like a rebound. He was like, but I would like to take you out or whatever. I'm like, okay, like, sounds good to me. Whatever, cool, right? He leaves. I think I texted him probably a couple times within that little period because I knew, I was like, okay, well, you single now, so I could text you just about random things. So that's what I was doing. And then I think either he calls me or I run into him or something. I don't really remember because it wasn't in text. It was in person or over a phone. And it was literally like a week later. It was literally a week, one whole week, 7 days, y'all. I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. I can't make this up, y'all. He's like, oh, actually, like, you know, me and her, we decided to get back together. We worked things out. And I just remember I was like, I think it was on the phone because I remember I got really quiet and he was like, hello. And I was like, oh, my thing is, why did you even like bring me into it if you knew you was just going to try to work it out with her? Well, you know, I didn't know, blah, 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 but I just wanted to tell you, like, we got back together and we worked things out. And I was just like, okay, that's fine. And I just kind of left it at that because I didn't really like how he did that. I was just like, okay. Like, I told him, I was like, next time you need to make sure you're actually single before you loop somebody else in. Because it don't make sense. It don't make no sense. And he was like, no, I understand. You know, I just felt like I wanted to tell you, da-da-da-da. Mind you, probably like the next day, y'all. The next day, he posted a picture with her on his Instagram story, y'all hugged and cuddled up. And I'm just like, girl, if you only knew. Your mans was asking me on a date last week. I was just like, he didn't tag her, obviously. And I was just thinking in my head, I was like, I don't know if I should like find the girl's Instagram or whatever and like reach out to her and tell her what this man is doing. But I was like, you know what? It's none of my business. Like, technically, we didn't do nothing. We didn't go on a date. He flirts. Cool, whatever. I was staying out of it, right? I still see him around the complex and everything. And like, we talk every now and then, but the conversations are very like surface level. Granted, during these conversations, he's always very flirty, very flustered, very like, oh my gosh, Naimah makes me nervous type energy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've never really been around somebody that I make nervous in that way. So it was just kind of, I was like, sir, like, calm down. Because most of the time that he would see me, y'all, when I tell y'all, I'd be working out, looking dusted, rusted, and crusted. Like, sir, if you think this is cute, then wait till you see me when I got makeup on. Like, what? But it was crazy. I don't remember exactly when this happened, but I do remember that he told me that I was on his girlfriend's radar. And I was like, well, how? Because I literally never like, I never did anything that was out of the ordinary to make her be like, oh, who is this girl? And he was like, yeah, she went through my phone one time. She saw your name. And I just told her that, like, you know, you were one of the people, like, that was one of my clients that I do maintenance for. And I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, why did I stick out specifically to her? Like, I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe because my number was saved. I don't know. I just thought it was a little odd. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want your girlfriend coming and trying to fight me or whatever. And he was like, oh, no, she's not going to do that. Like, she moved to a whole other state. Interesting. So you want me to be your Georgia girlfriend while she your girlfriend in another state? That's what it's giving. Cool. Fast forward, right? I'm walking through the complex one day. I see him. We stop. We talk. And he's like, yeah, I'm actually leaving soon. I was like, oh, what do you mean you're leaving? He was like, oh, I got another job somewhere else, so I'm not going to be here much longer. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna miss you. Like, cause look, aside from the flirtatiousness and everything else in between, y'all, it was really nice knowing a maintenance guy because like, it was very handy. Like, when he would come to fix things in my apartment, he would go above and beyond. Like, he'd be like, okay, I fixed this, but like, what was the other thing that you said was wrong? Or if it was like something that was like a simple fix, or like, if he heard or saw something, like if I moved the door and it was like creaking or something, he'd be like, oh, I can fix that for you real quick. Like, it was like that. It was just very convenient. I'm like, damn. I'm losing the maintenance guy. Darn, MG, you just had to leave me. I'm like, oh, okay, like, well, just let me know when your last day is, because I didn't really know how to say goodbye without like making it a thing. But I didn't want him to leave, just up and leave without me saying anything, because it's like, I feel like, I mean, we're not friends, but we're something. Let's get into the nitty gritty of this story time and why it became a story time here. Okay, y'all, like I said, I know that I was in the wrong. He would flirt, I would flirt back. I know that's a problem. So this one day, I think it was like his last week, I kept running into him and we would always stop and talk and have super long conversations because it was like, I'm not gonna see you again. And honestly, once he left here, I didn't really plan on texting him or calling him because it's like, I mean, whether your girlfriend lives in this state or that state, I'm not crossing no lines with you or whatever. And I made that very clear to him. I was like, well, this is the boundary. Like, I'm not crossing it or whatever. And he was talking about the boundary that he didn't want to cross or whatever, yada, yada. But he would always say very, his flirting was very sexually charged. Let's just go there, okay? It was very sexually charged. So a lot of the conversations we would have always had double entendres. And I was just like, okay, cool, like whatever. And at this point, I'm just like, well, you're the one who's being flustered. You're just saying X, Y, and Z, but you're not really about it for real because you got a girlfriend. You're not doing nothing. You're not doing nothing with it. And I just like toying with him a little bit. I thought it was fun. I know it's not right. It's not right. I know it's not right. Not right. But let's just be honest here. Guys do the same thing to us, okay? Period. On his last day, I go to the grocery store and I come back and I needed help carrying my waters in. So I text him, I'm like, hey, you want to help me bring my water inside? Mind you, he had done it a couple times, so this wasn't abnormal. He was like, technically we're not supposed to do this. He was like, but yeah, it's my last day. Like, who cares? Whatever, right? And I was like, okay, great, thanks. And I was like, I figured you guys weren't supposed to do this, but since you're here and you're willing, I don't want to carry it, go ahead. So he brings my water up and we start talking or whatever. And I don't even remember what we were really talking about. Once again, the conversation is still very flirty, it's still very charged. And he's like, okay, like I really should get going, because he was in here talking for probably like 30 minutes. He was just killing time. He was really just riding the clock, if I'm being honest. And I was like, yeah, because I have something to do. He's like, okay, like bye, like I'll see you later. He was giving like a grand goodbye. Very dramatic, I know. So he's like, is it okay if I hug you? I was like, sure. Y'all, he gives me a hug, but his hands go elsewhere, okay, in this hug. And, well, that sounded crazy. They just go to my butt. They just go to my butt. And I was like, whoa. And he was like, I'm sorry, I just had to do that because I just feel like, I'm sorry. I was like, are you okay? He's like, Naimah, this is just so hard for me. And I was just sitting there like, okay. I was like, boundary. Remember? I was like, you the one that got a girlfriend. I don't know what to tell you. He was like, I know. He was like, but honestly, he was like, I really do feel like she's down in that other state cheating on me. So what do you want me to do with that information? I was just looking at him, I was like, okay. I was like, so you think that you should cheat on her? I was like, two wrongs don't make it right. He was like, I know, but I'm just saying. I was like, well, maybe you should get solid proof that that's happening and then figure that situation out. Like, I wasn't really trying to go for it. I really wasn't. But then we started talking about how his girlfriend's doing him dirty. And it was like he was trying to convince me that his girlfriend was cheating. I was like, she probably is. And honestly, I believe she was. But that's none of my business. She want to cheat. So he's in here talking about that. And he's just like, Naimah, you're just making this so hard, blah, blah, blah. I'm not making nothing hard, y'all. I'm not making nothing hard. I'm literally just standing here. I put my groceries away. Like, I'm not making nothing hard. You're flirting me, I'm flirting back. That's as simple as, that's it. Have some self-control, sir. Have some self-control. The whole situation just escalates because it went from one hug where he was getting a little filthy, and then he's like, okay, but for real, like this time I'm actually gonna leave. So he hugs me again, and this time he picks me up, guys. He picks me up and pins me against the wall. When I was against the wall, I looked at him in his eyes and he looked at me, and I was like, I forgot what I said. I said something very ridiculous that made us both laugh because I had to break that. Absolutely not. You're not about to get me caught up in your situation. So I vividly remember I looked at him dead in his eyes. And you know how like you look at somebody in their eyes and y'all like have that moment? It was a moment. And I crushed it real quick with whatever I said. And then he almost dropped me on the floor. And he was like, I'm sorry. I was like, it's fine. I was like, you should go. At this point, it became a game. Almost. It was like he was tempted to just cheat on his girlfriend, and I probably wasn't helping the situation because y'all know I'm egging it on low key. I know. I wasn't aggressively egging it on, but it's just like every single conversation that I tried to have with him, or when I would bring her up, he was just completely disregarding her. How would she know? She lives in another state. I was like, but you will know, and I will know, and I have a guilty conscience. I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I'm a girl's girl. He was like, she don't have to know. Like, she probably cheating on me anyway. Y'all, most insane situation of my life. Most insane situation of my life. I can't make this up. We're sitting there going back and forth, and he's just being very, very, very touchy and flirty, and he tries to kiss me numerous times, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, MG, like, we cannot do this. We cannot do this. Like, we can't do this. Like, you have a girlfriend, like, for real. Like, you gotta stop. You gotta chill. Not gonna lie, guys, I did not know that I could test my self-control that much. Like, I was at my wit's end, y'all. I was at my wit's end. Like, he was the walls, the hugs, the touching. It was a lot. It was a lot for me, and I was just thinking in my head, I was like, I don't know, maybe I should just risk it all, like, do it for the plot. But I was like, no, I can't do that, because I knew in the back of my mind, honestly, it wasn't even really about him. I knew in the back of my mind that I wouldn't feel right whether she was cheating on him or not. I wouldn't feel right because, one, I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. Two, like, I just would feel guilty and I would feel bad about it. And granted, she doesn't know me. She doesn't even live in this state. It's not like she could come find me, but it's like, I know what happened. And whereas he would probably be able to sleep at night, I knew it would bother me, because it's like, I didn't come to break up a very toxic, unhappy relationship from what he was making it seem like. That's not what I came to do. So I was really trying to stand firm on my ground. I will say a lot of my friends told me, Naimah, you have great willpower, because they would have folded. It took everything in me not to fold, guys. It took everything in me not to fold. However, I'm very, very happy that I did not. So after that, finally he leaves. That's it. It's done. Like, and I still feel weird. Because at the end of the day, even though we didn't technically do anything, the energy was in the air. It was a lot of touching. And even what happened as a girlfriend, if I found out that happened, I would have been upset. So I remember, I think it was probably like a week later, or maybe like a couple days later, I texted him, and I think I asked him about his new job, and he was like, oh, I haven't started yet. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, well, I would like to talk to you about something, like, when you get the chance. And he was like, oh, okay, sure. So he gives me a call. So I'm talking to him, and I was like, I just want to let you know that I don't really appreciate the other day. Granted, I know that I took parts in it. I was like, but I feel like it was very unfair to me. I was like, because now you're just about to go out and kumbaya with her, and it's just not fair. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, that goes back to what I was telling you, because we had this conversation. He was like, you know, if something happened between us, like, it wasn't, like, you know, I'm not yours to begin with, or whatever, da da da. And I'm just like, yeah, but that's not the point. My point is, like, I just don't appreciate the situation that you put me in. He's, I know, and I'm sorry for putting you in that situation, and I genuinely do apologize, this, that, and the third. Just apologizing out the ass. And I'm just like, okay, like, whatever. And honestly, I didn't want anything from the conversation. I just wanted to get off my chest about how I felt about the situation, because I just didn't really feel like it was right. And do I think, let's rewind. Do I think that I was in the wrong? Yes, I do think I was in the wrong. Do I think that he was really trying to push his program, like, of, oh, it's fine, like, she's cheating too, like, we could just get away with it, da 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 da? Yes, I do. It was just messy, y'all. It was messy, and it was what it was. I have that conversation with him. It really doesn't get anywhere. We're just talking in circles. He gives me this dry ass apology just over and over again. I'm like, okay, whatever. At the end of the phone call, he's like, okay, but, like, you know, this weekend I'm spending time with her, so, like, whatever you do, please just don't call me, like, don't text me, don't call me, because I don't want her to, like, think X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm not even gonna lie to you. My friends was like, you should call that man. You should call that man. You should text that man. Honestly, I should have just ruined the relationship. Why not? I ain't got nothing to lose. You got stuff to lose. I don't. But I'm not the type of person, so I didn't do that. He was like pleading with me.
Naimah, please, just don't call me. Like, please, Naimah, please, just don't call, don't text me.
Y'all, it was pathetic. It was. And I'm just like, if you gotta do all of this, you don't need to be in a relationship. Somewhere, probably like weeks later, I just had to let the whole situation go. I just stopped talking to him or whatever. And I remember he, like, I think he called me out of the blue or something. I don't really remember. But it was just kind of random, like, hi. And he's like, hey, like, you know, I'm just calling to see how you're doing or whatever. And honestly, now I'm looking back at it, it was probably at a time that him and his girlfriend weren't together. Because, like, he FaceTimed me. Like, we were on FaceTime. And we were just talking about life, just catching up or whatever. And, of course, like, the conversation was still very flirty on his end. A little less on my end. I was keeping it a little bit more, like, I would feed into it, but not heavily like I was before, because it's like, I see the game that you're playing. I'm not about to play this game with you. So we had a conversation, and that was that, and we got off the phone, carried on. Cool, whatever, right? Fast forward. Months later. I mean, plenty of months later. Like a lot of months later, y'all. Like time has passed. Have not talked to this man, have not heard from this man. I might like an Instagram story here and there. He DMs me, he's like, hey, when you get a second, can you call me? I was like, is everything okay? He was like, yeah, just like, you know, can you call me when you get a second? I'm like, sure. Cause like at this point, though, I don't really understand why. First of all, why can't you just call me? Second of all, like, for what? Like, if it's an emergency, like, and you're reaching out to me, like, you must be desperate. Like, I was just confused. Once again, curiosity killed the cat. I was being nosy. I had to know what it was. He's really good at doing that. The next day, I called him. And I'm like, hey, like, what's up? Is everything all right? He was like, yeah, everything's fine. You know, I just wanted you to call me because I lost your number. You wanted me to call you because you lost my number. You could have literally just scrolled up in our DMs and got it from there. Yeah, but this way was easier. I actually can't stand guys, y'all. I actually can't. I was like, yeah, okay. So we talked for a little bit. He asked me how I'd been. I told him, I'm good. Like, how are you? How's the job? Like, you know, I can't complain, whatever. And we're just having casual conversation, truly casual conversation. Because at this point, I'm a little over with him. I'm over the games. I'm over the heavy sexually charged flirting. Like, so I'm keeping it very, like, surface level. Like, okay, like, yeah, cool, whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, he casually slides in the conversation that he's single. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that's the real reason why you called me, huh? And he was like, no, I promise that's not why I called you. I was like, no, that's the real reason why you called me. Like, we ain't got a sugarcoat. Like, why else would you want to be on the phone with me? Let's be so for real. So we finished that conversation. It was very short, whatever, right? And I was thinking about it, and I decided to text him the next day. I was like, you know what? Let me mess with MG a little bit. Let me mess with him. So I texted him, and I was like, you know, if you happen to actually stay single this time, I would like to cash in on my date that you asked me on a few months ago. And he just loves the message. Cool, right? Didn't get an actual reply. Wasn't really expecting one at the time. I'm like, cool. Like, maybe he got to think, cool. No worries. So about a week later, I got bored. I'm not going to lie. And I just sent a message to him. I was like, so, with a question mark. No reply. Then he posted on his Instagram story that he is going through a lot. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, well, this explains like why he never answered and like why he is probably not in the space for a date right now. Like, he's going through a lot. So if you post on your Instagram story saying that you're going through a lot, aren't you expecting people to DM you and ask you, are you okay? Isn't that like you're literally broadcasting to the world, hey, I'm going through something. Ask me how I am. Like, that's what I think about. So I'm like, hey, are you okay? He sees the message, doesn't reply. So at this point, I'm over it. Because like, that wasn't even me like coming from a place of like, oh, I'm trying to date you, or why didn't you answer my text message? It was just like, you literally posted that you're going through a rough time, and I asked you what was going on. That was it. That's just me being a caring person. I'm sorry for caring, my bad. And at that point, I was like literally over it. I was like, you know what, whatever. Like, I'm probably never going to hear from him again, and I'm done. And then what really pissed me off about the whole situation, about 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, y'all, 2 weeks later, 2 whole weeks later, 14 days, he posted a picture with a girl. First of all, I don't even know if it was the same girl from before. That's neither here nor there, though. He posted a picture with the girl, talking about how much he misses her, right? They're all hugged up, mirror picture, cool, whatever. That had my blood boiling. So I'm just like, bro, like, why do you keep reaching out to me just to turn around and be like, no, like, actually, like, never mind, let me go back to my ex. Like, why do you keep doing that? I was like, okay. And then I had thought about it. I was like, was that even the same girl? So I went to go back and watch the story. It was magically deleted after I had seen it. Coincidence? I don't think so. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm over the games. I'm done, whatever. Y'all, this is why we're here today. This is exactly why we're here today. About a few days ago, can't make this up. A few days ago, he sends me this. And I will insert the screenshot, because one thing these guys is going to stop doing is playing with my time and my emotions. Talking about, I just wanted to reach out and tell you sorry. And I was like, for what? For wasting my time? For wasting my time, getting my hopes up, and then just like disappearing? I think that's what I said. And he was like, all of the above. Okay. I was like, and what made you want to give me this apology now? What better day than today? Oh, you think this is funny? You think that this is a joke? You think this is a joke? You think I'm a joke? You think that I'm dumb? Okay, cool. I was like, all right. I was like, well, I appreciate you for taking some accountability, because what was that? That fake ass half-assed apology. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with that? That literally does nothing for me. Like, absolutely nothing for me. Like, you don't even really know what you're apologizing for, to be honest. You don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't keep yo-yoing me in just to yo-yo me back out. And that is how we got here. And honestly, I thought it was so funny because when he texted me that he was sorry, I thought that I was going to get to scrap this story time. I thought it was going to have a happy ending. I thought it was going to be one of those things where it was like, oh, like, you know, he actually ended up being nice about it, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. No, you gave me a half-assed apology. And granted, you're probably cheating on your girlfriend with some other girl now. Like, and she's probably cheating on you. Y'all need to figure out the situation out. But yeah, that was the story. That was it. That was the conclusion. Honestly, don't plan on talking to him ever again. Did I actually want to go on the date? I'm not gonna lie, I did. I did want to go on the date. I felt like, you know, it would have been a fun time. I think it would have been a fun time. The chemistry was there. But like, sir, I don't want to go on a date with you and your baggage. I just want to go on a date with you. Let me know in the comments down below who was more in the wrong, me or him. Because I know that I wasn't completely in the right. Like I said, I could take accountability for my parts in this situation. But yeah, who do you think was more in the wrong, me or him? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media, which is always in the description box down below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. We finished right on time. I know it's getting a little dark.
I want a chick that grind on a 9 to 5. Oh, she in them college books trying to get a rise. But tonight, I'm just trying to have a good